Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. No copyright infringement intended. All rights belong to their respective owners. In this video, we'll explore the life and tragic death of the soulful voice behind the Temptations, David Ruffin. We'll take a closer look at the circumstances surrounding his passing and the lingering questions. Was it a tragic overdose, or could there have been more to the story? We'll present the facts, different perspectives, and let you, our viewers, be the judge. Join us on this musical journey as we unravel the mysteries and celebrate the enduring legacy of David Ruffin. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with fellow music enthusiasts. Let's keep the soulful spirit of David Ruffin alive. David Ruffin, was it murder or accident overdose? Before I give you details surrounding his tragic death, let's get into his story. David Ruffin, born on January 18, 1941 in Wynot, Mississippi, was a legendary American soul singer and one of the most prominent voices in the iconic Motown group, The Temptations. His powerful and emotive voice left an indelible mark on the music industry and soul music as a whole. Ruffin's journey to stardom began when he joined The Temptations in 1964, replacing Elbridge Al Bryant. His charismatic stage presence and unique vocal style quickly made him a standout in the group. Under his lead, The Temptations achieved an array of hits, including classics like My Girl, Ain't Too Proud to Beg, and I Wish It Would Rain. Ruffin's signature raspy voice added a distinctive depth to their sound. Despite his incredible talent, Ruffin faced personal struggles and conflicts within the group, leading to his departure in 1968. He embarked on a solo career and achieved success with songs like My Whole World Ended the Moment You Left Me and Walk Away from Love. However, David Ruffin's life was marked by challenges, including battles with addiction and legal troubles. He passed away tragically young at the age of 50 in 1991, leaving behind a legacy of soulful music that continues to inspire and move people to this day. David Ruffin was the man, the voice that made the Temptations a force to be reckoned with. Prior to him joining the group, the Temptations had a little success with songs like Dream Come True and Paradise. But once David joined them in 1964, the hits followed. Some consider David Ruffin to be one of, if not the greatest male vocalist of all time, and you get no argument here. His range and just the uniqueness of his voice puts him in a class of his own. David was the definition of a star, and in 1991 the world lost that star. But why? His death was ruled as an overdose, but was it really? In June of 1991, David had just completed a month-long tour with Eddie Kendricks and Dennis Edwards. According to Dennis, each of them were paid $50,000 apiece. They were to be given $5,000 in cash and the rest in a bank draft. But David wanted all of his in cash, and he decided to keep it all in his briefcase. Why is this important? Let's get to it. According to those who knew him, David would surround himself with low-lifes who made him feel superior. Dennis Edwards said that on the day of his death, David's main flunky, or right-hand man, called him and said, David overdosed, but he's going to be all right. I took him to the hospital. David was taken to the hospital after he supposedly overdosed, but what happened to the money? Dennis Edwards said that he'd spoken to David earlier that day, and when he asked him about the money, David told him that he had it with him inside the briefcase. That information, combined with what Nedra Ruffin, David's daughter, said, would make many wonder what really happened. Nedra's words were, somebody set him up for that money. That's only the tip of the iceberg, she went on to say. She felt like her father was set up by a lady named Diane Flowers. Nedra also claimed that he had scratches all over his body and his head looked swollen. She also revealed that David's clothes were bloody and destroyed in Philadelphia before his body was taken back to Detroit. Now let's look at this. It was said that he died of an overdose, but those closest to him said he'd been clean for quite some time. His clothes were bloody. His bloody clothes were thrown into the incinerator. He had scratches all over his body. His head looked swollen. That was enough to make his children want a second autopsy. They were about to, but their minds were changed after their Uncle Quincy, David's brother, told them that if they did, one of them would be lying next to him, David. Most of this information came from Nedra during a 2019 interview, in which she also revealed who she really thought murdered her father. We won't get into that here, but I will leave the links to the videos.
My co-host, Charlize Wilkinson, and Ask the Messenger street reporter, LaShawn Ballard, will interview Nedra Ruffin, daughter of musical icon David Ruffin. She's going to share her story of substance abuse and recovery. But most importantly, she's also going to talk about memories of her famous father.
Well, actually, when I started using drugs, I was 9 years old, and my drug of choice was alcohol. And I actually picked up alcohol at weekend parties, gambling parties that my mother gave. And when they set the cups down, I was the one that was emptying cups. And actually, I didn't know no better at 9. Since they did it, I thought it was okay to do it, not knowing that later on in life it led to a road of destruction and despair. By the age of 14, I was smoking marijuana and I was popping pills. And by the age of 18, I was tooting cocaine. You know, and by the time I was 21, I was smoking at the time what they called, it wasn't crack cocaine at the time, it was called freebasing. There I had a 9-year run of smoking crack cocaine. And I used from the age of 9 years old to the age of 30 years old. And today, thank God and praise the Lord that I have over 25 years of being clean and serene.
Was that your bottom?
No, that wasn't my bottom. My bottom was my dad's death. You know, matter of fact, yesterday was 27 years that my dad passed away.
How old were you when he passed away?
I was 27 years old, and yesterday was 27 years he's been gone. Ain't that deep?
Somewhere there should be for all the world to see a statue of a fool made of stone, an image of a man who let love slip through his hand.
Y'all know what?
Then let him stand
Yeah, I
there.
was using, you know, and I got clean 18 months after he passed, you know, I want to elaborate that, you know, I was the last one to talk to my dad before he passed away. When my dad passed away, it's like he taunted me and haunted me through the thoughts. And 2 weeks prior to me surrendering to active addiction, I felt like something real bad was going to happen to me. I felt like death was on me, and I didn't even owe the dope man, and wasn't nobody looking for me, so I didn't know why I was feeling that way. And on February 20th, 1993, I got up and I looked at my 3 children, and I'm like, man, this don't make no sense. I made a decision to stop using, and I said, this is my last day getting high. So I called the dope man. I got an 8-ball of crack, a $30 bag of weed, a pint and a half of ENJ, a 40-ounce of Budweiser, and I said I was going out with a bang. And as I set up and used, I felt like I was ODing, and I called upon the Lord. That voice that I heard, it was my dad's voice that spoke in my ear. The Lord let David's voice intercede in my ear, and what he said to me was, Teray, you have a chance to do something I didn't. I got rid of the crack. I got rid of the weed. I poured the liquor out. I poured the beer out. I have not looked back. And today I have over 25 years of sobriety.
because you know what? I felt that same experience when my mother passed.
Yes.
And then when I came to the program, to the 12-step program, they have a way of saying that some of us have to die so that some of us
Have to live. That's right.
You believe he died
Yep.
so that you can live?
Yep. I believe that my father had been taken away from here. I believe he died so I could live just like God took his only begotten son. I feel that way. Every day I wake up, I thank God for my father and for giving me life, a second chance at life. And you know what? My family, my siblings may not never understand, but I'm grateful that I understand.
What happened to your father?
They say that it's like on his death certificate, it says accidental death, drugs, right? Okay.
You have one when he was stabbed too?
I have a picture of him right here when he was 12 years old. I have to get it framed. My dad, you can hold that one, Sean.
That's David at 12.
Here, Charlize, I have one for you. I believe that's Daddy and Eddie on the bus. But, you know,
Oh, that's nice.
in the end, my daddy was 12. He was 14 when he came to Detroit and started his music career. That is him and Eddie on a bus. I don't know where they was going to, but on that one, he looked just like my son. But this, at the end of his road of performing, it was him, Dennis, and Eddie. And my dad called me like 4 hours before they pronounced him dead. And he said, Teray, I'll be there in 2 weeks. And I'm going to get you that car I always promised you. He said, yeah, I've been clean. I'm going to stay clean. My daddy had been clean for a couple of months, right? And he was so excited. My daddy had, I think it was over $50,000 in a money belt. He always carried a money belt. And a money belt you carry up under your clothes, around your waist. He had something like between $20,000 to $40,000 worth of traveling checks. But whatever it was, I believe somebody gave my daddy a hot shot. I asked, they shipped my daddy's body here in a box, and they said his clothes was with him. His clothes wasn't with him, because when my mama and my sisters went to Philadelphia, and they went to the coroner's office, and they pulled his file, a picture fell out of his file, and the guy put his foot over it, and my sister Kim happened to see it. And she said, what's that? She looked at it. It looked like my dad had been drowned. His head was big like a basketball. And my dad has a very slim face like mine. And as a result of it, my dad, when he flew here, his clothes was not in the box. We found out that his clothes was very bloody. And they destroyed and burnt his clothes in Philadelphia. They destroyed the evidence of his clothes in Philadelphia and burnt his clothes up in the incinerator. And the death of my dad, you know, everything that has been said, you know, the truth is going to come out through his family, his wife Sandra, and his daughter Cheryl, Kimberly, and Nidra. But as a result of his death, you know, my dad had told me that he would be home in 2 weeks in the phone conversation that we had. And the day that he said he'd be here, he came home that day, but it was in a box. You know, so that my whole world I thought was ended. Like that's all, my whole world ended. My whole world had literally like ended because my dad was my best friend. He was like my everything to me. And it was like, I felt like I was going to die when my dad passed away. I didn't even have the motivation to even want to stick around for my children. You know, that's when I had suicidal thoughts, you know. But as a result of his death, you know, I felt like my dad was set up by a lady by the name of Diane Showers. I will say her name. My dad was never thrown out at a hospital out of a limousine. No, he was pronounced who he was at the hospital and everything. But at the same time, he never speedballed. They said my daddy had heroin and cocaine in his system. My dad never messed with heroin a day in his life. Not one day in his life. And I do know that, you know, you could use another drug and substitute one for another, but he never did that. You know what I'm saying? So as a direct result, I just want to tell the world that my daddy was clean. Somebody set him up for that money, and somebody took his life. We went to Swanson's when he came here, and I asked to see my dad. We examined his body. He had scratches on his chest, scraped up knees. His feet were scraped up. Whatever he went through, he fought somebody for his life. He really did. Wow. And I just want to put that out there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to speak upon just like Carly B did. There's something called the Illuminati out here in the entertainment field. And I believe that Illuminati had some type of ties to my dad because he had a conversation with Farrakhan. Okay.
I wish we had more time. Unfortunately, we don't.
Okay.
We're going to have you back.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry about it. We're going to have you back.
Oh, yeah.
That's very interesting.
I'd like to turn out now to do a song that I had the pleasure of writing when I was 18 years old. It took till 75 with Mr. Van McCoy on Walk Away from Love album. Maybe you felt like this at one time. Somewhere that should be for all the world to see, a statue of a fool made of stone, an image of a man who let love slip through his hand. That person, Ashley Greason. Let's go now to addictions in entertainment. Welcome to the show. I am Lester Lewis, your host, and on today we have special guests with us, Ruffin, who was with us before, and also our street reporter, LaShawn Battle, also Dr. Linda. Thank you guys so much for being on the show. Nidra, listen, last time we were on the show, we dealt with some of the issues with your dad and his addictions, and as well, we were supposed to be about you. So we first and foremost want to say to you, please forgive us, but so many have responded to what you were talking about concerning your dad, and we want to give you a chance because one of the issues that arose in our YouTube videos is that we cut you off before you had a chance to share about the Illuminati. So
right, they said it was me.
Yeah, they said it was LaShawn. They said that she was responsible. And so we want to make sure that everybody knows. And so LaShawn, go on, come on, tell us about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So the guest said that I cut you off when you started to talk about the Illuminati.
Yes, the Illuminati is real. They exist. They are in reality. And the reason I say that is because when my father passed away on June 1st, 1990, we wanted to get a second autopsy, me and my sisters and my brother. And my dad's oldest brother, who was not in the entertainment business, my Uncle Quincy, set my daddy 3 daughters down, and it wasn't my brother, but the daughters. And he said, if y'all do another autopsy, one of y'all gonna be laying right next to him. And we never did the second autopsy because my uncle told me that we wasn't gonna make it, that somebody was gonna do something to us, you know. And at one point in my life as a child, my daddy had filed something against Motown, and my daddy ended up hurt, and then we ended up with bodyguards going to public school, you know. And the Illuminati, 2 weeks before my dad passed away, he called Farrakhan. Farrakhan spoke over an hour at my dad's going on June 1st, 1990. And Farrakhan had a personal talk with David's daughters and our mother. And he was the one who had entwined us about the Illuminati and said that my dad called him 2 weeks before his death and said that he wanted out. He wanted out of something. And Farrakhan told him that he'd be back in 2 weeks, and they would get together and they would talk about it, and he would help get him out of whatever he was in. Whatever he wanted out of, 2 weeks later, he was deceased. When my daddy flew here from Philadelphia, his body was flown. My daddy talked to me. I was the last person to literally have a physical conversation with my dad just a couple of hours before his death. My dad was sober. Dennis and Eddie said he'd been sober the whole European trip. Yeah, Relapse is a reality, but it's not a requirement. My daddy said he was clean. My daddy said he found some property he wanted to buy in Vegas. My daddy told me he gonna buy me that car I always wanted. He was clean. But guess what? When I examined his body, Swan says, I want to see my dad. And when I examined him with my mother and my siblings, I pulled the sheet off of him. My daddy had scratches all on his neck, his chest, his knees were scraped up, top of his feet was scraped up. Whatever he did, he fought somebody for his life. He had a good fight he put up with somebody. See, ain't nobody said that.
What do you think happened to David Ruffin? Was Louis Farrakhan involved, or was the Illuminati, or Diane Flowers, or all above? Let me know in the comment section. Nedra Ruffin, daughter of the late R&B singer David Ruffin of The Temptations, was described as a loving, kind, sweet individual with a heart of gold. Nedra Ruffin, 58, died May 19th at Beaumont Hospital, Royal Oak, as a result of complications from COVID-19. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest content. We'll be back with more exciting videos, so stay tuned. Until next time, have a wonderful day and take care.